If you're new to Airtable or you're ready to level up your Airtable skills, you're going to love this video because I'm going to be walking through what makes Airtable a unique software and how you can get the most out of it here in 2026. Now, this video is something we update once a year and we push it out for new beginners in the current year. So if you're ready to level up with the current features of Airtable, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth, and this is Gap Consulting, and it's our mission on this channel to help you unlock the full potential of Airtable and related no-code tools. Now, as I said at the beginning here, we are going to be focusing on how to think about Airtable as a beginner in the software in 2026. And the truth of the matter is, Airtable has gone through a lot of key updates. There are many new features. And if I'm being perfectly honest, if I picked up Airtable today for the first time, I think I would feel overwhelmed. We've got AI everywhere. There's interfaces versus views. There's so many different tabs to click on. And frankly, I would feel like I didn't even know where to start. So in this video, I'm going to break it down for you step by step. I've had the pleasure, the luxury of leveling up with Airtable over the last decade. And so as the features come out, we're able to fully embrace them rather than feel overwhelmed. So this video, my goal is to help break down those different key features, the different core functions of Airtable, so that you can go right to the source when you're ready to build your next Airtable solution. Now, before I get into the heart of the video, I first want to invite you to join me for some free training. We've put together an Airtable crash course, and it's going to break down a lot of what you see in this video, but go into more detail. We'll deliver that course to you if you sign up with your email at gapconsulting.io/Airtable-crash-course, and I'll include links wherever you found this video. But without further ado, let's kick this off. And the first thing that we need to do as new Airtable users is get our minds around 5 key mental shifts. Airtable is a unique tool in what it offers, and so we have to first do some mental work in order to adjust the way that we think, especially if you're not already used to building your own apps. There's a lot that you have to kind of wrap your mind around. Now, the first of those is to shift away from spreadsheet thinking. Stop thinking in rows and columns. Even though Airtable looks or can look like a spreadsheet, it's not. We have to transition from thinking like a spreadsheet to thinking in systems. Programmatic thinking, system thinking. So rather than saying, hey, look, rows and columns, this is where the data lives, think broader than that. Think about how data moves through a system, through your process. That initial shift is going to do a lot of correcting for you when you sit down to start building an Airtable. Key mental shift number 2, we have to start thinking in terms of relationships. Data in Airtable is connected. It's a database. Things are linked and we can infer information through the linked relationships. So if you're accustomed to kind of segmenting or siloing your data, this is going to be a big shift for you. As you build in Airtable, you're going to connect your data across different tables. So start thinking relationally. You have to consider what is connected to what. As a quick example, let's say you have clients and contacts in your database. These are generally 2 different things. Contacts are people. They have email addresses, phone numbers, names. But clients are mostly businesses if you're doing B2B. And so there's a relationship here. The contacts are linked to the different clients that you work with, and we can infer that relationship and everything that goes along with it by properly connecting those 2 data sets. So start thinking relationally. Key mind shift number 3 is about shifting away from views to interfaces. And this is a very specific mind shift for 2026 and beyond, because Airtable recently came out with their interfaces. They've been around for a couple of years now, but they've made massive progress. 2025, 2024, those years saw amazing improvements to Airtable's interfaces. So we now have to think, as we're building solutions and apps in Airtable, we have to consider the end user. What are they going to see? How do we want them to see it? Do we want them to create new records, update, read, and delete. We have to consider what our end users are able to do. What are we going to allow them to do when they access the information that we're sharing with them? And if you think about interfaces, that is the way that you're going to present the data to the end users, then it will dramatically shorten your time to deploy your next solution. The fourth key mind shift here is to move away from manual processes and to embrace automation. If you are not thinking about how you can update things automatically, you're going to miss out on a big piece of Airtable. Automations are the magic behind the scenes that update information, send out emails, get contracts. I mean, all kinds of things that we do digitally can be done with automation, especially if they follow a consistent process. The more streamlined your operation is, the easier it is to automate. And embracing that automation will dramatically enhance your efficiency as an organization. The last key mind shift, number 5, is to truly embrace AI design. Before this last year, we were mostly building alone. We didn't have a lot of help when putting together Airtable applications. But now, AI exists right inside of Airtable. Omni AI is the name of Airtable's AI internal to the tool, and you can communicate with it and get its recommendations and help building your databases and your interfaces and all the different components that go along with that. So we're no longer building in a vacuum, and this is actually fantastic for beginners to Airtable. It gives you an entry, a way to start embracing these Airtable concepts without feeling overwhelmed about where to go or how to access that feature. Just open up your AI and have a conversation with it, and even give it permission to build things inside of your app once you've approved them. Now let's talk about what Airtable is best at. And I'm going to share my honest take here that frankly, Airtable isn't great at everything. We're going to get to that in a minute. But I do want to first start off by acknowledging where it really shines. What are the projects that I would absolutely recommend bringing Airtable in on? First and foremost, Airtable is phenomenal at internal tools. Anything that you're building inside of your organization where you need to share data across your department or perhaps multiple departments within an organization, Airtable is going to shine. Internal tooling is absolutely Airtable's bread and butter. Particularly, I love Airtable for lightweight ops. So any kind of operational workflow that your organization is tracking, and that doesn't have to necessarily be the operation, the core operation of the organization. It might also be operations within departments. For example, we see a ton of projects in the marketing and creative spaces for Airtable. Also in manufacturing, inventory control. Inside of these teams, it's very common that you have internal operations or processes within the department. And that kind of stuff is brilliant for tracking in Airtable. Building apps around your operational workflows is another place that Airtable will really shine. If you're trying to solve problems where you have structured workflows that require human in the loop, then Airtable is my top pick. And the reason for this is Airtable allows you as a human to interact with the data, to check on it in various points throughout a process, and to offer your input, make changes, make edits to that information before sending it on to the next stage. If you want something that is fully automated, that doesn't require human touch, there's really not a need to put that into Airtable. And on the other side, if you're not willing to embrace automation and interfaces, then Airtable might be overkill and you might be better suited for a spreadsheet. But if you're in that middle ground where you're embracing automation, but you still need humans in the loop of that workflow, Airtable is a top pick. Now that I've sung its praises, let's talk about what Airtable is not great at, even in 2026. And the first of these is a full-blown SaaS app. If you're building your own software as a service, I would not necessarily recommend that you lean towards Airtable for this. And really, this comes down to the way that Airtable prices and its overall business model. The reason is Airtable charges you for anyone who has edit access to your data. So if you're building an app that's going to go out to more than 100 people, your Airtable costs are going to be quite high. Conversely, this is why Airtable is really good for internal tools, because when you build internal tools as an organization, it's very common that you would have software costs for the different people in your team or org. And so in this way, Airtable makes a ton of sense for internal tools. But if you're publishing an app, especially if it's going out public, if you're doing anything that is SaaS related, Airtable probably falls a little short. Leaning into that a little more, if you're doing any kind of high traffic, public-facing applications, Airtable's probably not the right fit for very similar reasons. Also on that front, although Airtable has made amazing strides on its interfaces, if you're looking for a pixel-perfect front end, Airtable might not be the best choice for you. Now, the reason behind this is that Airtable is mostly drag and drop when it comes to its interfaces. Yes, it does have a vibe coding app or block, so you can bring that element in and vibe code, some cool interface pages. But if you want full control, even the vibe coding element probably isn't going to get you exactly what you want. So if you're looking for highly customized front ends, Airtable's probably not your best choice, and you might go somewhere else. Lastly, if you're looking for something to be everything for everyone, I still don't know of a single tool that can embrace that. So if you're really trying to look for one software to rule them all, Airtable comes close, and I would say you might still consider it, but don't expect any magic from tools, even in 2026. AI has come a long way, vibe coding has come a long way, and there's a lot more that we can do today than we could even a few years ago. But that still doesn't mean that Airtable is a silver bullet or some magic potion that's going to do everything for you. It's just not the best fit for every project. No software is. So if you start to run up against limitations as you're using it, look to fail fast. And this is generally just good advice within business or entrepreneurship in general. If you're starting a project or starting out a new business, try to fail quickly. That way you can pivot or get out of the way as quickly as possible rather than going further and further down a dead end. Now let's go ahead and jump on into my screen, and I'm going to show you the 5 massive key features that you need to know about as a beginner using Airtable. The first one is Omni. I mentioned already that Omni is Airtable's AI, and when you first open up a brand new database, you can start building that database with nothing but a prompt to Omni. Now, this one I've decided to build from scratch. So I signed into Airtable, said I wanted to build a new database, and opted for from scratch. And still, when that database loads, you'll see that on the left side, I have Omni. And I can type right in here to Omni. I can access multiple different features. Some of these are on AI Labs. AI Labs is how Airtable launches out its newest AI features. You have to toggle this on in your Airtable settings. And there may also be some limitations based on your Airtable plan. So it's possible that free plans might not always have the same level of access to AI Labs and things like that. So bear all of that in mind. But you'll see here that I can just use the standard tools. We also have the new generating of reports. We can create web tables from web data, and we can also build those interface elements. This is the vibe coding component that I was mentioning earlier. Now we can also just, if we're on tools, just communicate directly here with Airtable and tell it what we're looking to build. So understanding how the AI works in Airtable is a massive feature that cannot be overlooked. I could ask it, for example, to build several tables for me. I could give it a list of the different fields in those tables. I could ask it to create all of those fields, interfaces, automations. All of this is possible within Omni. So really embrace this, check it out, and start exploring what's possible. Also, do note that the amount that you can communicate with the AI is based on credits, which are dependent by the plan that you're on with Airtable. Now, if you don't want to use Omni, that's okay. You can close it down. This is the data layer, and this is key feature number 2 that you have to understand about Airtable. The data layer is where data lives. So we build the database here by adding new tables. These are the relationships that I was stressing earlier. And we can link tables across by simply coming in, and we can build that relationship by linking to another table. So I can link data set 1 or table 1 over to table 2 and just build that linked relationship. So now things are communicating across my different data sets. This all happens in the data layer. Also, every field that we build within the data layer is going to be a new column here. And we have many different field types. As you can see, these are all the different fields that we can build. It's important to understand how to build databases, but frankly, the more you practice, the more you play with Airtable, the more you'll begin to understand the importance of these different components. As you add data to your database and build out these new fields, choose the type of data that you're looking to store. If you're storing a link, for example, use URL. If it's a number, obviously a number or currency or percent. If it is text, you'll be looking at the single line or maybe the long text. So there are pre-baked data types that we can select from. Also note that we have other types of fields that derive their value from other information. For example, formulas. We can't actually edit the information in a formula field. The formula calculates based on the formula that we create, and we cannot edit the output after that. Similarly, we have roll-ups or counts. This includes looking at metadata and analyzing it. So again, we can't change the number that is counted in a linked relationship, or we can't change a lookup value. This is dependent on the rules that we build when we build that field. We can edit the field rules, but we can't edit the actual output directly. The third key feature of Airtable is its automations. Up here at the top, we flip over to the automation panel. On the left-hand side, you'll have all of your automations listed out as you build new automations. Automations consist of one trigger and then one or more action steps. The trigger is what initiates the automation. When the conditions of the trigger are met, then it will perform the action steps. So every automation starts with a trigger, but then the action steps are what you want it to do. That could be creating a file in Google Drive, sending an email, updating a record. The sky is the limit when it comes to this. There are more advanced automations that you can build in third-party tools or integrate with third-party systems, but start small. Start by building automations directly inside of Airtable that are updating Airtable data, and before you know it, you'll be building advanced automations too. That takes us to the fourth layer of Airtable, which is interfaces. Interfaces is what most of your users will see when they access the data. You build an interface, you can choose an icon, you can name it whatever you'd like, and then choose how you want the data to show up. This is how people will actually interact with this once you roll it out to your team. Most people will not see the data layer. Only the person who built the database or other system admins should ever really access the data layer. The data layer is, think of it as keys to the kingdom. At that level, people can override the formulas, they can break the logic that is meant to keep the system in place. The interface layer is just how you present the data, and you can choose who has access to what and who is allowed to edit what. So you can really lock down what people see and how they see it. By default, Airtable gives you list, gallery, Kanban, calendar, timeline, roadmap, custom, etc. There's quite a lot of options, and don't forget even dashboards, record reviews, all of these things. But as I mentioned, if you want to see your data in a unique way, you can always use that custom interface extension where you can vibe code your own extension front end. Now, if you're not familiar with these terms, basically that means you'll communicate with an AI prompt, tell it using plain language what it is you're trying to do, and then the AI will do its best job to put forth that interface for you, fully customized using your data. Now, it'll probably take you multiple rounds with that AI because it's generally not right the first time, but it can be a really powerful feature. Once you've rolled out your interfaces, the fifth big thing to know about Airtable is its forms. So backing out of here and going back to our example, forms is the fifth component, and using forms, we can build with AI's help or just build it ourselves, build forms that allow other people to enter data that will go directly into our database. Now, a couple of things to know about Airtable forms. Number one, if you've linked to any other fields, any other records, the people who are entering data in your forms might see information about the linked information. So do beware that there might be a bit of a security risk there if you have linked records in your forms that you're sharing on the form. Now, the other thing to note is that when a form is submitted in Airtable, it has one rule or one purpose and one purpose only. Its purpose is to create one record in one table. So very often you'll have needs where you'll need records created in multiple different tables. Airtable forms are not natively built to support this. Their function is only to create one record in one table. So you might look to third-party form software for more advanced use cases. Another common problem with Airtable forms is you might not want to actually create a new record. You might want to update an existing record. And again, this is not what Airtable forms are initially designed to accomplish. So if you have a more fringe use case like one of these that I mentioned, you might consider looking toward third-party form software, but Airtable forms still serve a very valid purpose within the software, and if yours is a simpler use case where you only need to create one record in one table, Airtable forms are going to get you there really quickly. So that's it for 2026 Beginner's Guide, How to Think About Airtable. I hope you got a ton of value from this video, and if you have questions that we did not address, swing by our website because we've put together a ton of resources to help you unlock these tools even further. If you're stuck on a project and could use a bit of a nudge, swing by and sign up for our free inquiry or strategy calls. We'll go over your current situation, your goals, where you're getting stuck, and help you come up with a game plan to move things forward. And of course, if you got value from this video, giving us a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, it would go a long way to help us in continuing to produce content like this. That's it for this one. I hope you got a ton of value here. Most importantly, my friends, keep on building.